A fisherman sets out with his friend in a small boat towards the Pacific Ocean for fishing, where they only need to spend 30 hours at sea. However, it takes them a full 14 months to return from there because they become victims of a sea storm. Just imagine what it would be like if you were left alone in the middle of the ocean on a small boat for 14 months, and the control of this boat was not in your hands, but in the hands of nature, where the strong waves of the sea are pushing you here and there all the time, where there is no one far and wide to hear your voice, no roof over your head, no dry place to sleep, nothing to eat, and no clean water to drink. So how can a person possibly survive for 14 months in such conditions? Welcome to another video of Money Basics Explained. If you are watching Money Basics Explains video for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. Our ocean is much bigger than we think. An idea of this can be gauged from the fact that if a drill hole is made into the earth from the coast of Chile in the Pacific Ocean, the other end of this drill would emerge from the ocean on the other side of the earth. There are a total of 5 oceans in our world. Among these 5 oceans, the largest ocean is the Pacific Ocean, and it spans a total of 165 million square kilometers. You will be surprised to know that if all the part of our world where we live were to be dumped into the Pacific Ocean, we wouldn't even know where that dry land of ours went. In this entire ocean, only a few islands exist, and they are so small that they are like a dot in front of this ocean. This means that if someone accidentally drifts there, the chance of finding them is almost next to nothing. But today, we will discover the story of a person who had come to the Pacific Ocean on his small boat, where he had to stay alone in the middle of the ocean for 438 days in a small skiff. That skiff had neither a roof nor any place to sleep. How did this person keep himself alive on this small boat for 438 days? This person accidentally created a world record that perhaps no one would even think of breaking. The record for spending the most time alone at sea, held by this person named Salvador Alvarenga. Now the question arises, how did he survive for 14 months in the middle of this terrifying ocean? This story is from 2012, when a person named Jose Alvarenga, belonging to a small village in Mexico called Costa Azul, is going a few kilometers away from the coast to catch fish as per his routine. He was 36 years old at the time. He used to be the most expert fisherman in his village. He convinces a companion to go with him. Their plan was to spend 30 hours at sea and then return home. For this reason, they don't take much food and drink supplies on their small boat. This 7-foot boat has only an engine and a refrigerator that they are taking with them to store the fish. They go only 20 kilometers inside from the coast of Mexico and start laying nets to catch fish. But at that very moment, a terrifying sea storm arrives there. To save their lives, they turn the boat back, but unfortunately, the boat's engine doesn't start. The waves hit them with great intensity and keep pushing the boat for 6 full hours. When the waves subside a little, they have no idea which part of the ocean they are in. In this storm, they also lose whatever little supplies they had brought with them. Now, their only solution is to somehow fix the boat's engine and then, estimating the direction, take it back towards Mexico. Jose somehow manages to start the boat's engine, but here they make a huge mistake. The estimate they made was completely wrong. They think they are heading towards the Mexican coast and run the boat for 5 hours straight. But they didn't know they were going in the opposite direction of their land, where they would find nothing far and wide. The boat runs continuously for 5 hours, and eventually the fuel runs out. Jose and his companion are lamenting this fact, that perhaps they have come further into the ocean when suddenly strong winds start blowing again in the sea, pushing their small boat even further inside. Now, as time was passing, the survival of Jose and his companion was becoming difficult. They had now reached a part of the ocean where there was only water in every direction. After spending 5 full days, they had come 2,200 kilometers away from the coast of Mexico. Jose and his companion now knew that their chances of survival were less than 1%. They now realized that if they remained in the middle of the ocean like this, they would die of hunger, thirst, or the intense heat of the afternoon. The food and drink they had brought with them had fallen somewhere during the sea storm. To stay alive, they started making every possible effort. To satisfy their hunger, they started catching birds that came and sat on their boat with their bare hands. Besides this, Jose was an expert fisherman, so he would catch fish present near the boat with his hands, and both of them would eat them raw. They knew that drinking salty seawater would dehydrate their bodies. For this reason, they started collecting rainwater in the boat and filling it in plastic bottles floating in the sea. But when it didn't rain for many days, they would drink the blood of turtles and sea turtles to quench their thirst. And when even that wasn't available, they would both drink their own urine to prevent themselves from getting dehydrated. Days passed, then months, but the mental torture they were going through was such that spending even an hour there would probably be very difficult for us. Jose's companion endured this torture for 4 full months, and after 4 months, he jumps into the sea and ends his life. Now, on this small boat, Jose didn't even have anyone to talk to, and he started living alone, surrounded by the sea on all sides. According to maps, Jose's boat was present in this part of the ocean, and this part was considered the quietest and scariest part of the ocean, where every night as darkness fell, dangerous sounds of sea animals could be heard. There was also a constant fear that some sea animal might attack him. On the other hand, the cold waves of the water wouldn't let him sleep. This was a place where transport ships passed by occasionally. 6 months had passed since leaving the coast of Mexico, and during this time, Jose had also lost his companion. Because of this, he had become quite psychologically affected. He started talking to himself. One day, Jose sees a cargo ship 1,200 feet long. It was the first ship in the last 6 months that Jose was seeing with his own eyes. But perhaps no one on the cargo ship could see his small boat, and Jose's first hope sails away right before his eyes. He shouted towards the cargo ship with all his might, but the crew on the ship didn't see this small boat. Just imagine, after fighting death in the middle of the ocean, when you finally get a glimmer of hope to save your life, but even that ignores you and goes away, what would be going through a person's mind at that time? After 11 months, Jose had covered a distance of 8,000 kilometers on this small boat. Now his clothes were completely torn. The weather had also changed now, and it had become so hot that during the day the sun's rays would burn his skin. Now his courage was also broken. There was no strength left in his body to save himself, with which he could catch fish to eat. His body was fully dehydrated. Then, finally, that moment arrives when even the sea took pity on him, seeing his condition. January 30, 2014 was the day when he saw some coconuts floating on the surface of the sea coming towards him. After exactly 14 months, when he sees these coconuts, he understands that there must be some island near the sea from which coconuts from the trees are falling and drifting towards him. After a while, he sees a small island. Was it his illusion, or was there really an island there? He immediately jumps into the water without thinking, because if it was true that there really was an island, he didn't want to miss it. So without thinking, he starts swimming in the sea, and finally, it wasn't his illusion, it was indeed an island. A man steps on land for the first time after 438 days. There he sees a small wooden house where he goes and meets some people. After 14 months, he was finally in contact with another human being, and he couldn't believe that he had survived after spending so long at sea. This island was a mini-island of the Marshall Islands called Eben Atoll, and this point was exactly 11,000 kilometers away from José's starting point. That is, José had covered a distance of 11,000 kilometers on this small boat. If José had missed this point too, then perhaps his survival could have become difficult again. Finally, he is put on a plane and sent back to his city in Mexico. When he goes home, he learns that his wife had remarried after he went missing. Seeing all this, he feels a little angry about his journey, but then he thinks that at least he is alive. If he had lost courage like his friend, perhaps he too would not have returned alive. Therefore, we should never lose courage in any situation. I hope you will also like and share this video of Money Basics Explained abundantly. That's all for today. Meet you very soon. Goodbye.